work hard and save some money, but don't be afraid to take a bit of risk.
Right.
The interesting thing about real estate is, like all things, with a little bit of risk, you can do a bit better. Don't be afraid. My first family home was a bit of a junker. My wife and I fixed it up. Don't be afraid to take on projects. If you can find a good place and a good structure. Sometimes you live in a way you don't necessarily want to for a few years until you've done the renovation you need. I've lived through renovations. It's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you've got an open mind to what you can buy and what you can afford, and you put a little money away, work hard, then you'll find a way into the market.
Got it. And what do you think about the bank of mom and dad, about a lot of people getting help from their parents these days?
I don't know. I mean, obviously that goes around, that happens, and I'm sure they do. Certainly the kids today are coming from probably the richest generation ever, and there is definitely money out there. So I think I'm a family person. If parents want to help, I think that's wonderful and great. If you have that opportunity, great. If you don't, find another way.
Absolutely. So do you plan on helping your kids when they get older?
I'm trying to buy houses now, knowing that it will be more difficult for them to buy them in the future. So yes, I would help my children get into the real estate market.
Awesome. So that's a good strategy. Try to buy now to help your kids out later.
Yeah, and myself, of course.
Of course. That makes sense. Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to tell our audience about the market right now?
I don't know. I think it's probably been the busiest spring I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll probably take a little pause over the summer, which we haven't done for many summers. The spring markets have really pushed into the summer. But I think this summer we'll get a little bit of a break. And if nothing changes, we'll come back in the fall as fast and furious as it's been all spring long. So I guess we'll see. Everyone will have a nice summer, and even in the summer, real estate happens. In fact, if you don't want to compete for real estate, you're trying to get into the market, into condos, it's not a bad time to be buying. There's less people out there looking at property, and there's still lots for sale.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Whereabouts do you live in the city?
I live in Roncesvalles Village. I actually live in Parkdale, but some time ago, some savvy realtors renamed it Roncesvalles Village. So I'm out in the west side by High Park, and I love it very much. It's a wonderful, wonderful community, and it's just one of those communities in Toronto that are like there's so many of them all around Toronto, where there's a really wonderful main street and some good green space and, just a vibrant communities, vibrant neighborhoods. And I'm happy to live in one of those. And
so what first drew you to that neighborhood? I'm assuming you sort of got into that neighborhood before it was hip and happening?
Yeah, we definitely got in right before it was hip and happening, and I consider that a little bit lucky. We were living in a condo downtown, but wanted to have children, my wife and I, and so we're looking for a place to live. I grew up in downtown Toronto, and my wife didn't want to be as downtown as I would have wanted to be. We found Roncesvalles, and my wife is from Collingwood, and she really liked the main strip because it seemed like a small town to her, the main strip of Roncesvalles. And we bought out there and have never looked back.
And were the schools good when you moved out there?
Yeah, we looked into the schools because of the kids, and there was a very good school, Howard Public School, that had French immersion, which was interesting to us. We liked the stream of schools it went through, and we were happy with it. So there are great schools out here. It is the city. Realistically, we do live in Parkdale, and there's some inner city schools all around, but it's wonderful living. It's urban living. It's how I grew up, and I'm happy to raise my kids that way. So
that sounds great. Now, you mentioned something about Parkdale, because Parkdale right now, there's some parts of Parkdale that seem sketchy, but then there's other parts of Parkdale that seem like they're up and coming. How long do you think it's going to take Parkdale to have a full sort of rebirth?
I hope a long time. I consider Parkdale one of the most, maybe the last interesting neighborhood in Toronto. There's so much gentrification that goes around all around Toronto, and Parkdale really is a neighborhood almost out of time, and it's a wonderful, wonderful, vibrant place, and the people that live there are wonderful people, and I hope it doesn't change too quickly, to be perfectly honest. So.
Seems to be the place right now with all the hip happening restaurants, that's for sure.
Sure does, eh? Sure does.
Absolutely.
There was an interesting, they tried to ban restaurants there for a couple of years, and I believe they did.
Why did they do that?
I think they were just trying to stop it from turning over too quickly. There's a large population in Parkdale I don't know if a large population, but there's a lot of affordable housing in Parkdale and people that use it. And I think there's a real, belief in the communities around it and in Parkdale and in the city that when we lose that affordable housing in a central location in Toronto, that the city's a lesser place, that it's not as good a mix of people, it's not as interesting a place. And Parkdale is one of those places still with a lot of affordable housing, and it's starting to disappear.
Right.
And that's a real problem for the city, especially in a city where affordability is becoming an issue
right.
for real estate, and we're talking about people not being able to get into the market. Well, here's a neighborhood where there still is some affordable real estate and affordable rentals, and it's changing. So.
Interesting. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And it's been great listening to your insights and information about the real estate market. Thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your vacation.
I will. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and great to chat with you.
Okay,
and have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Brian. Bye.
Right. Bye now.
You've been listening to The Morrison Report. Hosted by Deval Morrison, sales representative for Bosley Real Estate Ltd Brokerage, real estate investor and best-selling author, bringing you insights on the Toronto real estate market. Join us for another podcast.